Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Sciences, SOS, others programs, appreciation course on environment, ACE, Block-3 Improving the Environment, Unit-9 Eco-Friendly Technologies, 9.1 Introduction. Environmental conservation is an issue which has arisen from man's activities, his functional role in the biosphere, and his relationship to nature. Over the years, communities have learned to evolve various strategies and practices of natural resource management and conservation. Such technologies are based on indigenous, traditional knowledge and have been developed, tested and improved over the years. They are effective, environmentally benign, and user-friendly. India is sustaining 16% of global population and agriculture is the only hope for nearly 70% of the population. Therefore, sustainable concept in Indian agriculture must include the additional food demand created by 15 million mouths every year, which is almost equal to an addition of one Australia every year. Conservation of cultivable lands is achieved not only through preventive and remedial measures to control soil erosion, but also through the application of innovative technologies which are blend of traditional knowledge and frontier technologies such as biotechnology and information, space, and renewable energy technologies. These technologies are environmentally benign, economically viable, and socially equitable, hence they are called eco-friendly technologies, EFTs. You will study about various eco-friendly technologies and their adoption by communities in this unit. Objectives. After studying this unit, you should be able to times explain the need and concept of eco-friendly technology, times discuss the eco-friendly technologies relevant to agriculture, times describe the eco-friendly technologies pertaining to energy generation and industry, times discuss the eco-friendly technologies related to mining, textiles, building, etc. Times appreciate the need for participatory approach in adopting EFTs and times highlight the future of EFTs. 9. Point to need for eco-friendly technologies. EFT. Since 1950 alone, we have lost 15 to 20% of our agricultural land, 33% of our forests, and 8% of our ozone layer. We have added 3.5 billion more humans and 15% more CO2 to the atmosphere. We have already used up 55% of all available fresh water. Energy sources are getting depleted. World oil supplies are expected to run out by year 2030 and gas by year 2045. The dismal situation of Indian agriculture owes its state to the irrational use of physical resources. For example, there has been wasteful use of land resources through overgrazing and deforestation for fuel and timber. Vast areas have been cleared in shifting cultivation, mainly in the hilly and mountainous regions, leading to destruction of protective vegetation cover of the soil. Indulgence in intensive irrigation has left large tracts of Indian agricultural soils either salt-affected or waterlogged. Excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides has led to micronutrient deficiency in some instances and poisoning of the water bodies in others. Fossil fuels are getting depleted as more energy is needed both for production and consumption. Mining and industries have caused hydrologic deterioration. Burning of coals and increased number of vehicles have raised the levels of atmospheric CO2, S02, NO, etc., thereby increasing atmospheric temperature. This is called greenhouse effect. This will lead to global warming, due to which coastal areas are likely to be submerged. This state of affairs could change dramatically through the introduction of a sound land use policy, water conservation measures, application of solar technology in agriculture, and various measures which may be classified as eco-friendly technologies in the field of agriculture and industries. The major features of these technologies are times no atmospheric pollution, times land productivity remains intact, times oceans and fresh waters are not contaminated, times user-friendly, times use only locally available resources, times efficient and effective. EFTs show the path to an evergreen revolution in agriculture, industries and energy system where productivity advances can take place without leading to ecological or social harm. The concept of eco-friendly technology is based on the rule of nature. Eco-friendly technologies are being used in various sectors with agriculture, energy, building, textiles and leather industry, mining, food processing, etc. 9.3 EFTs in agriculture. Indiscriminate use of pesticides, excessive and improper irrigation and improper land and water use planning affect agricultural production to sustain its growth for future generation. Since the food requirement by 2000 AD is about 210 million tons to sustain self-sufficiency, it is essential to look for an eco-friendly approach for evolving and popularizing ecology-based low-cost, input and economically sustainable strategy. Sustainable agriculture is a system which maintains and improves soil fertility such as to guarantee adequate food production into the foreseeable future. Sustainable agriculture can be defined as an agriculture that can evolve indefinitely towards greater human utility, greater efficiency of resource use, and a balance with the environment that is favorable to humans and to most other species. The indiscriminate use of hazardous agrochemicals has resulted in outbreak of secondary pests, pesticide resistance, and contamination of ecosystem. Therefore, a more feasible and economical method of pest management, i.e., IPM, has become popular, particularly among small and marginal farmers. According to FAO, IPM is a pest management system that, in the context of the associated environment and the population dynamics of the pest species, utilizes all suitable techniques and methods in as compatible a manner as possible and maintain the pest population at levels below those causing economic injury. The objective of IPM is to optimize and not maximize pest control in terms of overall economical, social, and environmental values. A number of tools have been used for IPM in several crops, which include use of pest-resistant varieties, cultural practices, use of pheromone traps, parasites, predator and pathogens of crop pests, biological pest control, quarantine measures, hand collection and destruction, attractants, repellents, sterilants, growth regulators, male sterile techniques. Use of nucleopolyhydrovirus, NPV, and neem seed camel, NSK, extract and development of resistant cultivars are major components of IPM. Biological pest control and biopesticides, important components of IPM, are discussed below. Box 9.1, Eco-friendly technology to manage chickpea pod borer. We did not believe when we were told about it, but how we know we can count on this cheap and effective package of technology to manage the dreaded chickpea pod borer, said the small group of chickpea growers in Kappadu village near Jahirabad in Edak district, Andhra Pradesh, India. They were referring to a low-cost, eco-friendly technology package that can be used to manage Helicobacter armigera, the insect whose caterpillars or larvae have long ravaged their crops. The package has been developed by entomologists working in the Crop Protection Division of the International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, LCRI City, headquartered at Patancheru, Andhra Pradesh. Dr. V.R. Bhagwat, ICRISAT entomologist, explains the technology as an integrated pest management (LPM) strategy using an improved variety, a botanical insecticide, and a host-specific virus to protect chickpea from pod borers, and adds, on-farm experiments in farmers' fields have clearly shown the efficacy of this approach. 10 on-farm trials were conducted in 3 villages with active participation of both local farmers and ICRISAT scientists. 9.3.1 Biological pest control. The successful control of a pest species by means of another organism natural enemy that is encouraged and disseminated by man is called the biological control. These organisms could be biocontrol agents like parasitoids, predators, or biopesticides, which includes fungi, bacteria, viruses, nematodes, protozoa, as well as botanical pesticides. Biological control program is three-pronged approach with importation and colonization of exotic natural enemies, conservation of existing natural enemies by modifying the conditions which favor and promote the natural enemies, and by making periodic releases of natural enemies for inoculation and inundation. Promoting natural enemies of key pests of important crops is one of the most important and indispensable component of integrated pest management. 1. Microbial pesticides. 2. Botanical pesticides. Microbial pesticides, biopesticide formulations containing either of bacteria, fungi, virus, protozoa, or nematodes as pest control agents are known as microbial pesticides. The microorganisms causing diseases in harmful plants or insect pest feeding on useful plants don't harm man or other animals. They don't leave undesirable residues and can be used even close to harvest. This is the most important factor encouraging the use of pathogens are the control of plant-feeding insects and diseases. Microbial control is also compatible with other methods of pest management. Some of microbial agents which have shown potential and offer an excellent alternative to chemical pesticides. Among the microbial pesticides, Bt. Bacillus thuringiensis represents the majority of commercial biopesticides. The reports, however, indicate that Bt total market volume represents around 1.4% of total insecticides used and occupy less than 0.5% of total agricultural chemical market value. Botanical pesticides, the insecticides of plant origin extracted from seed, flower, leaves, stem and roots are termed as botanical pesticides. Plants are a rich source of bioactive, organic chemicals. It is estimated that there are about 250,000 to 5 lakhs different plant species in the world today. Only 10% of these have been examined chemically, indicating that there is enormous scope for further work. There are about 227 plant families which are reported to possess more than 2,400 number of plants having pesticidal values. The most promising ones suitable for development as botanical pesticides are discussed as below. Neem, Azadirachta indica. The bioactivity of neem products has attracted the attention of scientists the world over. All parts of the neem feed possess insecticidal activity, but seed, kernel is the most active. Neem bark, leaf, fruit and oil as well as extracts with various solvents, especially ethanol, have found to exhibit activity against insect pests. Till today 450 to 500 SPP of insects have been tested with neem products. And 413 of these are reportedly susceptible at different concentrations. There are 55 compounds isolated from neem seed kernel, NSK. Out of 55 compounds present in I, only 3 have been so far recognized for IPM. These are Azadirachtin, Nimbin, Salonim. There are more than 100 commercial neem products registered in India. China berry, Melia azidrachi, commonly known as dharek, China berry tree, China tree, Persianai lacquer, pride of India, is a close relative of neem tree. It has very strong antioxidant effects against locusts, S. gregaria. Extracts in different solvents as well as pure compounds were found to exhibit phagodeterrent, oviposition deterrent, fecundity and longevity reducing and toxic effects. It is considered as safe insecticide and hence commonly used in house, field, livestock prey and up on edible where treatment is needed just prior to harvest. Dairies, the chemical rotenvin is found in 68 species of certain leguminous plants, the more important ones being the SPP of dairies, found in the Far East, contains 5.9% rotenvin, and that of Lonchocarpus, grows in Amazon Valley of South America, contains 8.11% rotenvin. Its action is selective killing of some insects and sparing some others. It is both a contact and a stomach poison, which affect respiration by the inhibition of O2 utilization by the body cells, resulting in the death of the insect. 9.3.3 Green manuring. Green manuring is a method of growing a quick maturing crop and plowing it under to be incorporated into soil. Crop supplies organic matter as well as additional nitrogen, particularly if it is leguminous. A leguminous crop producing 3 to 1 tons of biomass per acre will add 20 to 40 kilograms of nitrogen when plowed under. Exercise a protective action against erosion and leaching. A leafy crop, usually a legume, grown either in the field itself or cut and brought from elsewhere, is buried in the soil when the crop is about to flower. The crops usually grown for green manuring are sunhemp, Crotalaria, Dhaicha, Sesbania aculeate, Berseem, Trifolium alexandrinum, kudzu vine, Pureria hirsute, cowpea, Vigna sinensis, etc. Leaves of bushes and trees are also used for green manuring. Green manure crops can also be grown on bunds and wastelands. The commonly used shrubs and trees are Gliricidia, maculate, a type of dhaicha, Sesbania speciosa, and Karanj, Pongamia, glabra. The green manure crop supplies organic matter as well as additional N, particularly if it is a leguminous crop. The amount of N added per hectare varies from crop to crop. On an average, a leguminous crop producing 10 tons of green matter per hectare will add about 35 kilograms of N when plowed under. Green manuring is effective only when there is sufficient water supply, both for growing the crop and for providing sufficient moisture for its decomposition in the soil. Oil cakes. A large variety of oil cakes are produced in the country, which are used as concentrated organic manures. These have comparatively high nutrient contents. Oil cakes like groundnut cake, till cake, mustard cake, which are useful as cattle feed, should not normally be used as manures. Other non-edible cakes like caster cake, neem cake and karanj cake, which are not suitable as cattle feed due to presence of toxic substances, can be used for manuring purpose with advantage. All cakes contain varying amounts, often together with small quantities of P and K as well. All cakes are fairly quick-acting manures, but they should be applied well before the crop is sown. They should be powdered before application so that the manure is spread uniformly. Concentrated organic manures of animal origin. A variety of products of animal origin is available for manurial purposes. The most common ones are derived from animal carcasses or products of slaughter, house, dried blood, meat meal, horn and hoof meal, etc. Dried blood or blood meal has a high in content and is quick-acting and effective on all crops. It should be used in the same way as all cakes. Fish manure is available either as dried fish or fish meal. It contains, in addition to in a fairly high proportion of P, fish manure also becomes quickly available and can be applied to all crops. Other animal and human waste products include excreta of birds, guano, sludge, etc. 9.3.4 Organic farming, vermicomposting, addition of organic forms of fertilizers such as cow dung and agricultural wastes improves the nutrient status of the soils. This may also help reduce the toxic effects of prolonged usage of inorganic nitrogen fertilizers in the past. Vermicomposting, converting waste into wealth. After 1950, India adopted modern agricultural technologies which included use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, hybrid seeds, etc. Unfortunately, extravagant use of those technologies and interference in natural processes, modern agricultural technologies seem to be failed in maintaining the harmony with nature. Before switching over from chemical agriculture to organic agriculture, a technology is required which will perform as a missing link between the two extremes. Considering the tropical climate of India, vermiculture technology seems to be one of the most appropriate technologies for Indian farmer. Vermiculturing refers to growing breeding of earthworms. There are more than 500 species of earthworms found in India. The earthworms have been classified as manure worms and soil processing worms. Vermicomposting can be done in pits, earthen pots, wooden craters or windrows. The most suitable species of earthworms for vermicomposting are Edudralis eugeniae, Icenia, Fetida and Perionyx excavatus. These are used to convert any organic waste into humus-rich fertilizer, the vermicompost, which helps in maintaining the soil fertility and quality. Vermicompost is a mixture of worm castings, organic material, humus, living earthworms, and cocoons. Agricultural residues, animal, manures, dairy and poultry waste, food industry waste, municipal soil waste, slaughterhouse wastes, and biogas sludge can all be recycled to give vermicompost. Fig. 9.3. Vermicompost technology will save a lot of foreign exchange and also the fossil energy. DST, Government of India granted project for extension of vermicompost technology at all India level. The technology was handed over to at least 300 NGOs who were working in their own state with rural people very effectively. CAP Art, an organization of Government of India dedicated to rural development, funded many organizations in order to establish a vermicompost unit at their own farm. Further, IOFT worked as a nodal organization to train these times farmers. More than 10,000 farmers took the advantages of this scheme throughout India, and they are producing from minimum 1 ton to maximum 5 jounds of vermicompost per month, 9.3.5 biofertilizers, today, a large variety of microorganisms mounted on suitable carrier substances are used as biofertilizers to improve the nutritional status of crop fields. The advantages of using biofertilizers over chemical fertilizers is that they generate fertilizer right on the spot where the nutrient is needed. This is unlike chemical fertilizers, which are manufactured in a factory and then transported to agricultural fields. Moreover, biofertilizers generate only till the requisite quantities and make such quantities available to the growing crop plants in the field. Whereas, in case of chemically fertilized fields, the unused fertilizer is leached out and causes eutrophication of water bodies. Once established in a field, biofertilizers need no subsequent inoculations, while chemical fertilizers have to be added with each crop and perhaps in increasing quantities every year. Use of biofertilizers may afford biological control of plant root pathogens, but chemical fertilizers, being non-living, do not provide the crop plants with protection from pathogens. Biofertilizers thus provide an environmentally safe alternative over chemical fertilizers for the modern agroecosystems. Among the biofertilizers, rhizobium is the most important infixing organism. Rhizobium lives symbiotically in the root nodules of leguminous plants. Non-symbiotic infixation is restricted to certain microorganisms, mostly bacteria, Azotobacter, Azospirillum, and blue-green algae. Azotobacter, in addition to fixing in, produced a number of biologically active compounds. Azospirillum grows on and inside the roots of grasses, JMD, other gramineous crops, where it fixes atmospheric, and blue-green algae have long been known to be free-living infixers. Besides infixation, blue-green algae secrete vitamins and growth-producing substances. Azolla is a floating aquatic fern with infixing blue-green algae, Anabina azolla, associated with it. The merits of Azolla-Anabina association lies in its ability to fix in and give high yields of biomass, which can be used as green manure. Worm, Vescularabuscular mycorrhiza, is a beneficial association between a plant root and its fungal associate. Worm helps in the uptake of P. VAM is receiving renewed attention because of its role in increasing the nutrient uptake by the plant it infects, and VAM-infected plants can utilize water more efficiently than non-affected plants. Some phosphate-solubilizing soil bacteria and fungi lower the pH and bring about the dissolution of immobilized form of phosphates. 9.3.6 Watershed management. Watershed is the area of land that catches rain and snow and drains or seeps into a marsh, stream, river, lake or groundwater. Homes, agriculture lands, forests, towns, cities and more make up watersheds. Watersheds come in all shapes and sizes. Some are millions of square kilometers, while others are just a few acres. Just as creeks drain into rivers, watersheds are nearly always part of a larger watershed. Techniques of watershed development. Gully plug. Gully plugging is one of the simplest methods of soil and water conservation. It utilizes easy-to-adopt, local and low-cost technology. The need for external input to the village is zero. It plays an important role when done in series, one below the other, from top to bottom of a depression. Gullies are formed due to erosion of topsoil by the flow of rainwater. In course of time, they grow in size and erosion increases. To prevent erosion, barriers or plugs of different types of material are put across the gullies at intervals. Construction of a plug is done mainly with the help of locally available boulders. A dry stone masonry wall of these boulders is constructed across a gully. This wall permits water to flow through it and at the same time allows soil to be deposited against it. On the upstream side of the plug, water conservation structures. Water conservation is important for agriculture. Storage of water, therefore, is an essential part of watershed development. Targeted food production can be achieved only if crop-water relationship is fulfilled appropriately. Water conservation works includes the construction of small dams with height not exceeding 3 to 5 meters. The object of water conservation structures is to create a barrier to the flow of water, to impound water against this barrier and to make use of it through wells on the downstream side. The conserved water is used for drinking, domestic use, agriculture, etc. Water conservation structures could be in the form of earthen structures, underground dams, timber cribs, or of masonry, with or without gates. The construction of a water conservation structure requires technical expertise to prepare the design of structures, though local people's involvement is critical for planning and execution. Lift irrigation. Sometimes water cannot be provided to fields which are at a higher level than that of the water's source. Water has to be lifted to a higher level from which it can be supplied to the fields in its command. For lifting the water, some energy is required. Earlier, water for an individual's irrigation need was lifted with the help of a person or a pair of bullocks. Today it is lifted by electric power or diesel from wells, rivers, irrigation tanks, and other sources, and conveyed through pipes made of cement, steel, PVC, etc. Planning, designing, and execution of a lift irrigation scheme has to be done by people with technical know-how. Land leveling, terracing or land leveling helps in soil and water conservation. When there is heavy rainfall, the velocity of water runoff is reduced on leveled lands, consequently reducing the chances of soil erosion when water starts flowing along agriculture fields. Penetration into the ground augments the groundwater table. Conservation of in-situ soil and water can only boost production. Irregular, uneven lands cannot hold soil moisture, and leveling the land is therefore necessary. For this, terracing the land with the requisite height of soil and stone bunds at suitable contours is necessary. The upper part of the field is excavated and the depressions filled in. It is important to have a waterway to provide for drainage of accumulated water. Contour bunding. Bunding is an earthen embankment 90 It plays an important role in soil and water conservation on medium slope. In between two contours, agriculture can be carried out and tree plantation on the bunds is possible. These trees can be selected from the category that they will fix nitrogen in the soil and become useful to the crops. The trees will be useful for compost to improve the fertility of the soil. Contour bunding helps soil and water conservation. During rainfall, contour bunds act as a barrier to the water flow and check its velocity. This reduces soil erosion. When water starts flowing along the fields, the blind causes an obstruction, due to which the velocity reduces and water percolates behind the bunds. Thus, bunding helps both conservation of both soil and water. Tree plantation on hill slopes along with contour trenching, grassland and trenches have helped in soil and water conservation. When there is heavy rainfall, grass acts as a shock absorber and checks the velocity of raindrops. This reduces the chances of soil erosion. When water starts flowing along fields, the grass and trenches become obstruction for it. The speed of the flowing water reduces and water is collected in the trenches. Surface irrigation system. In the surface irrigation system, water is directly applied to the surface of the soil and is spread by gravity flow incidental to the slope of the land. There are several methods in this system, the commonest being flooding from a ditch, check basin, ring and basin, border strip and furrow. For irrigation with the surface system, fields are laid out every time before the crops are sown, since these layouts are destroyed during preparatory tillage. In order to achieve a higher water application efficiency in the surface system of irrigation, the fields must be leveled well. The check basin method of irrigation is widely practiced in India, as it is well suited to all irrigable soils and to a variety of crops. Checks, rectangular or square, with sizes varying from about 10 to 100 sqm or even more, are used. The basins are leveled in both directions. Slopes up to 2 to 3% can be irrigated by using this method with a good control on irrigation water and high water application efficiency. On steeper slopes, this method can be used. After proper terracing, the limitations of this method are that it has too many ridges which not only occupy the land but also hinder interculture and harvesting with mechanical means. The ring and basin method is commonly used for widely spaced orchard crops to irrigate individual trees or groups of trees. The important consideration in the case of the ring and basin method is to wet the soil only around the tree and not the entire land, thus economizing on water. In the case of the border strip irrigation method, the field is divided into long, narrow strips with small parallel ridges on the sides. The strips are 3 to 10 meters wide and across the width the strip is leveled perfectly. The length of a strip ranges from 50 to 300 meters or more, depending upon the slope, the rate of water intake of the soil, and the stream size. In furrow irrigation, water is applied to the field in furrows between the two ridges and the top of the ridge is not directly wetted. Crops such as sugarcane, cotton, potato, some vegetable and other widely spaced row crops are irrigated by using the furrow method. Sprinkler irrigation system. Sprinkler irrigation is a system in the case of which water pressure is applied to the surface of any crop or soil in the form of a thin spray from above. This method is advantageous as water can be applied at any controlled rate and a uniform distribution and high efficiency can be ensured. This method can be adopted in the case of almost all crops and is very popular in case and some orchard crops. The sprinkler system is specially suited to shallow sandy soils of uneven topography, where leveling is not practicable, and in areas where water and labor are scarce. Drip irrigation, also termed trickle irrigation, involves the slow application of water, drop by drop, as the name signifies, to the root zone of a crop. The method was initiated in Israel and is now being tried in other countries. In this method, water is used very economically since losses due to deep percolation and surface evaporation are reduced to the minimum. This method is, therefore, very much suited to arid regions and is being followed for irrigating orchard crops at present. The successful growing of orchards even on saline soils has been made possible by the drip system of irrigation. The system can be used for applying fertilizers in solution. 9.3.7 Rainwater harvesting. RWH. Water is increasingly becoming a scarce commodity in India. It can no longer be considered a free gift of the gods, but need to be harvested, conserved and utilized in the most appropriate manner, rather than just constructing gigantic dams which not only dislocate existing habitations but cause floods and other environmental problems. India needs to focus its efforts on developing and reviving indigenous water technologies. Traditional water harvesting system exists all over India, but after serving India for several millennia, they are dying a slow death in India. After having gone through a massive 50-year phase of constructing big dams and canals, we are once again being forced to look at our traditional, small-scale water harvesting and management system. Though India gets a high amount of rainfall, it is not evenly spread across the year. Most of the time, even in a normal rainfall year, the country faces a drought. Cherrapunji, the wettest place in the world, receiving about 15,000 mm of annual rainfall, faces an acute shortage of water every year. Rainwater harvesting, RWH, is putting back rainwater into soil where it will be stored in underground reservoirs and rivers so that we can draw it whenever we need it. Rainwater harvesting system requires small sums of money, a large part of which can come from local communities and thus avoid on under drain as the state exchequer. They can be built within months instead of years. Like large dams, they will be under the control of the farmers themselves, and they can be used conjunctively with tube wells as they can recharge the groundwater aquifers. In terms of the water that can be stored, their potential is stupendous. If 5% of India's land area, about 15 million hectare, was used to store water at an average depth of 5 meters, India would be able to get 37.575 million hectare-meters of water, depending on the rainwater collection's efficiency, ranging from 50–100%. Success stories of rainwater harvesting in Net, Delhi. There are two main techniques of rainwater harvesting. A. Storage of rainwater surface and for future use. B. Recharge to groundwater. The storage of rainwater on surface is a traditional technique and structures used are underground tanks, ponds, check dams, weirs, etc. Recharge to groundwater is a new concept of rainwater technology and the structures generally used are pits, trenches, dug wells, injection wells, recharge shafts, lateral shafts with bore wells, spreading techniques. Pits, recharge pits are constructed for recharging the shallow aquifers. The amount of rainwater that falls on the terrace of a house can take care of the water requirement of an average family of 4 members for 1 year. Rainwater harvesting is essential because due to rapid urbanization, infiltration of rainwater into the subsoil has decreased drastically and recharging of ground water had diminished. Figure 9.5. Structures used for rainwater harvesting. A. Recharge pit. B. Trench. C. Dug well. D. Injection well. E. Recharge shaft. T. Lateral shaft with bore wells. Trenches. These are constructed when the permeable strata is available at shallow depths. Fig. 9.5b. Dug wells have been employed in Maharashtra and Delhi. In Precedence A state, Delhi, the rise in water level up to 2.58 m has been noticed through this technique. Fig. 9.5c. Injection well. This technique has been tested at various places in Delhi, recharge through to injection wells in Lit Delhi has been 830 come with a rise in water level from 0.29 to 0.87 m and benefited area of 1 hectare. Fig. 9.5d. Recharge shaft. Recharge through to shafts in Jalgaon district has been 12 TCM with a benefited area of 4.7 hectare. Fig. 0.9.5e. Lateral shafts with bore wells for recharging the upper, as well as deeper, aquifers. Lateral shafts of 1.5 to 2 meters wide and 10 to 30 meters long with 1 or 2 bore wells are constructed. Fig. 9.5f. Check dams is a spreading technique of rainwater harvesting implemented in IGNOU area of Delhi. The recharge through 4 check dams has been 76,000 come, with a rise in water level from 1 to 13.7 m. Percolation tanks is also a spreading technique of rainwater harvesting and is implemented in Maharashtra. In Jalgaon district, the recharge through 6 percolation tanks is about 681,000 cubic meter (TCM), with a rise in water level from 1 to 5 m. The benefited area is 545 hectare. In Amravati district, the recharge through 3 percolation tanks has been about 298 TCM with a rise in water level from 4 to 10 meters. It has benefited an area of about 280 hectares. 9.4 Non-polluting energy systems. In view of the strained power supply situation in India, dwindling coal resources and the risk associated with atomic energy sources like hydropower, wind energy as well as solar energy deserve to be taken more seriously than they have been till now. Renewable energy, RE. This sounds like a magic word for Indians plagued by constant power cuts. Alternative energy sources are being promoted world over to replace polluting fossil fuels. For example, in many of the European countries, it is mandatory for conventional power producers to purchase certain amount of renewable energy. More than 15% of energy generated in the world comes from this eco-friendly sector. The MNES, Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Sources, Government of India has undertaken measures to facilitate the growth of both grid and off-grid RF power. At till the contribution of renewable to the total installed capacity of electricity has been rising, and as of 31st December 2001, the cumulative installed capacity of repower sources total 3,387.08 megawatts, MNES, 2002. The contribution of resources is shown in Fig. 9.6a. The total potential of renewable for power generation is estimated to be 82,000 megawatts with major contribution coming from wind energy. Fig. 9.6b. The known EFTs classified based on technologies as power generation, solar energy, rural energy and emerging technologies. The first 3 technologies are being practiced from limited to moderate extent in India. The EFTs based on emerging areas have a lot of promise in India. 9a. Solar energy, timeless energy of the sun. The sun is the one energy source that sustains and links all life. Solar energy takes many different forms. The heat of the atmosphere, derived from absorbed solar energy, powers the winds and the cycle of evaporation and precipitation. Wind energy can be harnessed with turbines, just as running water from rain and melting snow is the energy source for hydroelectric power. The wind, blowing across oceans and lakes, transfers some of its energy to the water below to form waves which may generate power. The energy in biomass is derived from plants and photosynthetic microorganisms, which use the energy of sunlight to synthesize organic compounds, whose chemical energy is released when they are burned. Solar photovoltaics, SPV, the solar energy received in India, 5,000 trillion RWH year, is far more than the total energy consumption. The daily average solar energy incident over India is in the range of 4 to 7 kWh/2, location dependent. The reduction in the cost of solar photovoltaics, SPV, is more than 10 times in the last 20 years and is expected to reduce further. The sector-wise applications are household, agriculture, telecommunications, defense, railways, etc. The range of products includes solar lanterns, home lighting systems, solar home systems, street lighting systems, standalone power plants, solar water pumping systems, commercial, energy source, refrigerator, etc. Under the PV program, over 61,0000 systems aggregating to over 20 megawatts have been installed. MNES 2002. Solar thermal systems. The non-grid solar thermal technologies include solar water heating, solar cookers, solar air heating, solar thermal building design, passive solar architecture. Hybrid standalone systems. Hybrid systems combine the advantages of two different energy technologies. An integrated system would ensure that power supply can be maintained at an optimum level during cloudy days for spy systems and low wind conditions, wind electric generators. Standalone wind technologies include wind water pumps, wind battery chargers, and chemical storage, exothermic and endothermic reactions. 9.4.2 Power generation. Wind power. The wind energy potential in India is 45 megawatt. Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra are having high wind power potential. A total of 6.5 billion units kWh of electricity fed to the respective state grids. The capital cost of wind power plant is ranging from 4 rupees to 4.5 crore megawatt, and the cost of power generation is ranging from 2 rupees to 5 per kWh. The costs are expected to decline and profitability to increase with technology improvements to increase in turbine size 3, optimal planning and site selection. Out of the total power generated, 80% is used for captive consumption while 20% is sold to the grid or to a third party. A total of 26 project sites developed in the above states, resulting in a capacity of 57 megawatt. India is the fifth largest producer of wind power in the world. The CVET, Center of Wind Energy Technology, Chennai is specialized in this field. Small hydropower, SHP. The estimated potential of SHP in India is 15,000 megawatts, out of which the total installed capacity of up to 3 megawatts is 63 megawatts, 1989 status. However, there is a drastic increase to 226 megawatts in just 10 years, fourfold. Around 420 units totaling to it 41.05 megawatt of up to 25 megawatts capacity are established. MNES 2002. They are predominantly located in hilly regions, canal drops. Most SHPs are grid connected. Some of them are centralized and managed by NGOs or local communities. A well-established manufacturing base is available in India for a full range and type of SHP equipment. Biomass power. India has a huge biomass potential owing to the large quantities of agricultural, forestry and agro products. The biomass power generation is 14% of total NE-GY supplies worldwide, and 38% of the above energy is consumed in developing countries in rural, traditional sectors. The major applications are direct and indirect heating, water pumping for irrigation, power generation, standalone or grid-connected, village electrification, and industrial uses. The prime power generation technologies are gasification, cogeneration, and direct combustion. A total of 34 units aggregating to 110 megawatts capacity eogeneration plants are commissioned, while 26 units aggregating to 137 megawatts capacity are under implementation. The present capacity of biomass-based power generation totals 358 megawatts, MNES 2002. India has instituted a national program on biomass power cogeneration to establish the technological potential of power generation from biomass material. Sugarcane bagasse is the fibrous residue which remains after the production of cane sugar. It is typically burned at the sugar mill for fuel. Bagasse is the second most commonly used non-wood pulp fiber, since it is also a byproduct and comes in a chopped form from the sugar mill. It is very attractive from an economic standpoint. Energy recovery wastes. The National Program on Energy Recovery from Urban and Industrial Waste in India aims at promoting the proven technology for the treatment, processing, and disposal of wastes. It is not only a waste management practice but also technology for augmenting power generation. The primary focus is on reducing the quantity of wastes. This will improve the quality of the wastes to meet the required pollution control standards and subsequently generates substantial quantity of energy. The technologies available for energy recovery from urban and industrial wastes are anaerobic digestion, biomethanation, landfill gas recovery, incineration, and densificational pelletization. The total installed waste-to-energy generation capacity is 17.08 megawatts, MNES, 2002. The potential and current achievements and India's ranking in the world in cumulative achievements in power generation are given in the tables, Table 9.2 and Table 9.3. The status of wind power and biomass power in Indian states is presented in Fig. 9.7 and Fig. 9.8. Case study. Retreat. Resource Efficient TCRI Retreat for Environmental Awareness and Training, located in Gurgaon, is a model sustainable habitat. Not connected to the grid, it is powered by a photovoltaic gasifier hybrid, renewable energy system, which uses waste biomass and solar radiation. The wastewater is treated using plants. Thus, this training complex emits no waste, solid or liquid. 9.4.3 Rural energy, biogas or gobar gas is largely methane. It can be generated from wood and straw. Any natural organic matter can be digested above digester arid through pipes can be sent to kitchens of houses. Spent slurry, the material left over after digestion, is rich in NPK. The potential number of biogas plants is 12 million, out of which 3.1 million plants are installed. The two types of gas collection adopted are fixed drum and floating drum. The necessary biogas equipments such as stoves, burners, and lamp mantles are indigenously available in India. The energy-efficient cook stoves, improved chulhas, they are scientifically designed for both optimal regulation of heat flow and better fuel utilization. They also conserve fuel wood, reduce indoor air pollution, check on deforestation, reduce health hazards and cooking time, provide employment opportunities to rural people and upgrade the environment. 9.4.4 Emerging technologies, fuel cells. Hydrogen is the primary fuel in fuel cells. Other fuels can also be used to produce hydrogen with the aid of reformers. They are ideally suited for decentralized power generation due to modular nature. The focus is on technology development and applications for generating electricity, water, and heat. The potential applications of fuel cells include production of electricity, water, and heat, industrial and residential uses, surface transportation, electrification of remote locations and villages, and power supplies for PCs, hospitals, health, clinics, etc. Fig. 9.9a. Hydrogen energy. Hydrogen is the simplest and most common element found on Earth. It has highest energy content per unit of weight of around 52,000 Gal or 120.7 kg of any known fuel. When cooled to a liquid state, this low-weight fuel takes up 11,700 as much space as it does in its gaseous state. It is used as a fuel for rocket and spacecraft propulsion. which requires fuel that has low weight, compactness, and high energy content. Hydrogen is a clean fuel and good energy carrier. It is a possible substitute to fossil fuels and can be used as a fuel for vehicular transport. It is useful in a broad range of applications. A hydrogen fuel cell vehicle may be able to travel for 5,000 kilometers between refueling stops. The exciting advances are on their way in the field of carbon nanofiber technology, CNF. CNF has a capacity to store up to 70% of hydrogen by weight. A metal hydride can store between 2% and 4% by weight in a heavy structure. Fig. 9.9b. Geothermal energy. Geo, earth, thermal, heat, energy is an enormous, unused heat and power resource that is clean, emits little or no greenhouse gases, reliable, average system availability of 95%, and homegrown, making us less dependent on foreign oil. Geothermal resources vary from shallow ground to hot water and rock several miles below Earth's surface and even farther down to the extremely high temperatures of molten rock called magma. The Earth's energy can be converted into heat and electricity. The technology categories include geothermal heat pump, direct use, applications, and power plants. The geothermal heat pumps consist of pipes buried in the shallow ground near the building, a heat exchanger, and ductwork in the building. In the direct use applications of geothermal energy, the hot water near Earth's surface can be piped directly into facilities and used to heat buildings, dehydrate onions and garlic, heat water for fish farming, and pasteurize milk. 3 types of power plants can be operated using geothermal energy: dry steam plants, directly use geothermal steam to turn turbines; flash steam plants, pull deep, high-pressure hot water into low-pressure tanks and use the resulting flashed steam to drive turbines; binary cycle plants pass moderately hot geothermal water by a secondary fluid with a much lower boiling point than water and causes the secondary fluid to flash to steam, which then drives the turbines. Fig. 9.9c. There are more than 300 potential sites available throughout India, out of which the Tattapani geothermal fields, Chhattisgarh, 300 kilowatts power plant is planned by MNES, and Puga geothermal fields, Ladakh, JK, have been earmarked for tapping tidal energy. The different forms of ocean energy are tides, ocean thermal energy, conversion, ocean waves, and ocean currents. However, only the tides can be harnessed to produce power with the presently known technology. The potential sites identified in India are Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Khambat, Kambai, in Gujarat, western coast, and Durgadwani Creek and a delta of Ganga, Sundarban area, in West Bengal, eastern coast. Fig. 9.9d. Alternate fuels. It is presently at a primitive stage of research. The thrust areas of research include material technology development, performance improvement, cost reduction, eco-friendly electric and alternate energy hydrogen energy vehicles, and advanced high-energy density batteries for electric vehicles. CNG, an eco-friendly fuel, can prove to be successful in India provided more attention is laid on safety aspect and care taken on engineering and maintenance aspect. The resources of hydrocarbon fuels are being depleted and they are a major source of pollution, so there is a need for alternate and renewable energy sources, vehicles like ethanol, methanol, and fuel cells. In US, the use of AFVs, alternative fuel vehicles, is increasing at significant rate as they are more eco-friendly and more economic. Electric vehicles, EVs, are gaining attention as an environment-friendly technology. EVs are considered zero-emission vehicles because they produce no pollution from the tailpipe or through fuel evaporation. Though the power plants that produce electricity to fuel these vehicles release pollutants into the atmosphere, yet the environmental savings of electric vehicles over gas-powered ones is considerable. 9.5 Green technology in industry. The chemical industries are currently undergoing sea change to meet the new challenges imparted due to liberalization, privatization, and globalization. The environmental compatibility of new technologies has gained importance under the above circumstances, offering edge to the technology. In order to gain the additional advantage and overcome the above-mentioned challenges faced by the chemical industries, the eco-friendly technologies have become the need of the hour. Green technologies cover issues concerning technologies and practices used in manufacturing, construction, agriculture, etc., that are less environmentally burdensome than conventional practices. Whereas pollution control technologies capture contaminants as they come out of the pipe or up the stack, green technologies avoid the use of materials and methods that result in contaminants. In addition to pollution prevention, green technologies may have the goal of not depleting scarce materials. The total life cycle cost of the product or process, especially its internalized and externalized environmental costs, becomes a central focus with green technologies. The EFTs that are aimed for industries are waste treatment, recovery recycling, impact assessment, techno-environmental economically feasible methods, and pollution control. Regulations 9.5.1 Application of hemp, flax and other bast fiber plants, flax, hemp and other fibrous plants, which have been used from more than 6,000 years BC presently are and will be future of raw materials not only for the textile industry but for modern eco-friendly composites used in different areas of application, building materials, particle board, food, feed and nourishment, friendly cosmetics, medicine, and source of raw materials for other biopolymers and biomaterials. They do not cause any disturbing effect of ecosystem. They can grow in different climatic zones and they recycle the carbon dioxide in our earth. In textiles, until 1970s flax hemp were used mainly in household and technical textiles. The shift towards apparel sector has been made in case of linen in the 1980s, and in case of hemp it started in 1990s. The technological trials in using the liquid ammonia process for linen show the possibility of significant improvement of linen fabric performance in wearing, during bleaching and liquid ammonia finishing. The cellulose in linen fabric changes into cellulose-3 textile composites. Textile composites combine various layers of different desired properties in a fabric. The use of renewable cellulosic natural fibers as reinforcing fillers in fiber composites or adding a fiber blend in technical textile products is appealing because of the properties of the resultant composites and because of the environment viewpoint. The advantages of biofibers are low cost and a possibility of using renewable biodegradable raw materials in some technical textile products to a much greater extent than it is being done today. Food and fodders, flax and hemp seed are the next important products in flax hemp cultivation. Both are perfect raw materials for agriculture-rooted industries such as Times food industry, Times natural pharmaceutical and cosmetics products, Times paints and varnishes production, food additives on a linseed bases with high contents of lignans and unsaturated fatty acids, mainly linolenic and linoleic acids interconnecting 18 carbon atoms. The original length of these acids, assisted by additional reaction in the liver, allow them to develop chemically more double-bounded carbons. The result is that each of us has a personal communication system of about 13 billion interconnecting brain cells with extension to fingers, toes and all between. About 50% of our brain, spinal cord and its branches are made up of essential fatty acids, particularly linolenic acid. We literally think with these acids they are the brain. It is even supposed that if a pregnant mother has digested a proper amount of these fatty acids, she probably, according to Larkin, has the best chance of delivering an intelligent child. As a result of the newest research in this field, the school systems in the USA are encouraged to add linolenic acid linseed to the school lunch menus. Hemp seed oil, its properties. Hemp seed's nutritional values are already well documented as being an excellent source of balanced essential fatty acids, particularly omega-3, which is responsible for the proper growth and functioning of the body. Hemp seed oil is one of the best oils for healing properties and moisturizing. Linseed proteins and mucilages are used in such food products as ice creams, powdered sauces, and soups, where they give the smooth taste and viscosity. Similar market potential have the linseed and hemp seed-based products in pharmaceutical and cosmetics area, where flax hemp oils, waxes are applied, and where the brand of natural product has become the keyword in the marketing success. Hemp leaves and seeds-based fodder. About 16% of biomass of the hemp crop are leaves and unripe seeds, treated as waste products. In the desting process, it has been found that times after simple operations like grinding and sifting of the above-mentioned waste products, protein and vitamin-rich fodder can be obtained, times the amino acids and carotenoids content of new fodder is similar to that of traditional fodders like alfalfa and clover green meal with lower level of cellulose. In the case of hemp fodder, hemp as raw material for pulp production, the productivity of hemp biomass is very high to 5-fold higher than can be produced from the same area of forest. The concentration of acellulose in the raw fiber, bast, reaches the level of 90%, while the concentration of cellulose in softwood and hardwood ranges from 50 to 54%. This makes the hemp very attractive as a raw material for pulp and paper production. Recently, the environmentally safe technology for production of bleached hemp pulp, grown on the soil polluted by the metallurgic industry form hemp, has been developed. The process has been developed and optimized in laboratory and technical scale and verified in commercial scale in continuous and non-continuous production flow. In the cellulose industry, the interest is growing in production of pulp and paper from agro-based lignocellulosic raw materials such as bagasse, bamboo, reeds, esparto, hemp, flax, abaca, sisal, grass, etc. The amount of pulp made of non-wood resources is still growing. Cellulose of the agroplant origin is of very high quality due to the fiber length, and it is used mainly for manufacturing high-quality paper, cigarette paper, securities, etc. Further increase in the contribution of agroplant cellulose is foreseen, and it should reach about 15%. In 2010, the total production in the mentioned year is estimated to be about 480 million tons. The lignocellulosic raw materials can be combined with man-made or natural polymers, giving a wide range of useful composites applied in textiles, particularly in other boards, pulp and related products, composite nonwovens, geotextiles, chemo and thermosetting polymer-containing goods, filters, transportation, building industry, and agriculture. In future, all lignocellulosic biocomposites have to be recyclable or biodegradable. New products on bast and allied fiber plants base for diversified uses will be developed to provide workplaces and raise the living standards of rural areas worldwide, promoting the growth of agriculture-rooted industries. 9.5.2 Technologies in metal mining and leather industry. Mining operations include an open pit mine, waste rock disposal area, a heap, leach pad, and mill processing facilities. Management practices applicable to mine site discharges can be divided into 3 general areas. Point 1. Construction reclamation. 2. Management and housekeeping. And 3. Treatment. The following table provides examples of specific techniques used within each of these areas: mine water management techniques, construction reclamation techniques, management, housekeeping techniques, treatment techniques, diversion ditches and drainage systems, comprehensive pollution prevention plan, sedimentation basins, all water separators, riprap immediate spill cleanup, neutralization, dikes and berms, grading or terracing, inspection, training and education, artificial wetlands, collection basins routine, maintenance, capping or sealing proper handling, procedures, vegetation and mulching periodic systems, reviews, silt fences, integrated pollution prevention and control in leather industry, the minimization of environmentally polluting emissions through the times. Development of an economically and ecologically efficient overall system of production and disposal can be achieved through following technologies, times. Reduction of the use of chemicals in the tanning process and of chromium emission using production integrated measures, improved exhaustion and fixation of chromium coupled with the recycling of pickling and tanning. Liquors, continuous measurement of chromium values, new, environmentally compatible tanning technology involving minimized use of chemicals. Times development and testing of wastewater treatment methods on the basis of modified aerobic and anaerobic biological systems and membrane technology, with the aim of achieving maximum purification and permitting reutilization of wastewater, times processing of solid wastes and sludges by means of low temperature conversion in which the input materials are carbonized under reduced oxygen, thus avoiding chromium 6 formation. Times thermal treatment of leather waste. 9.5.3 Waste management. The applications of EFTs identified in waste management are 1. Treatment of bulky waste from industries such as paper, food, oil and paint, petrochemical chemical industries, etc. 2. Membrane technology for recovery and recycling of products along with energy conservation. 3. Recycling of waste to create eco-friendly and clean environment with value-added products. 4. Waste minimization. Several options are available to address the above-mentioned application areas. Few of them are discussed below. Adsorption is one of the significant EFTs employed for the removal and/or recovery of bulky waste from industries such as paper, food, oil and paint, petrochemical industries, etc. Adsorption finds its successful application in the removal and/or recovery of pollutants such as color, toxic metal ions, organic, chemicals, etc. Waste minimization approach is one of the novel ideas to identify the several possible options to reduce the waste emissions into the environment. The waste minimization can be achieved either by process modification or by effecting changes in raw material. Information pertaining to two aspects covered under waste minimization approaches are briefly discussed below. 1. Life cycle analysis. LCA. The Lee methodologies are based on material and energy balances for a particular process. The Lee consists of 4 steps. 1. Goal definition and scoping. 2. Inventory analysis. 3. Impact assessment. 4. Improvement. The Lee methodologies can be used to identify the process options for which fewer emissions are possible. 2 types of methodologies are available. 1. Pollution prevention, P2, factors and 2. Pollution prevention progress, P2P2. Cogeneration using agricultural wastes. You have already studied the concept of cogeneration in Unit 7. It reduces particulate and gaseous emissions compared to fossil fuels due to their low ash and sulfur contents. It thus increases the life of fossil fuels, natural resources. For eogeneration purposes, the calorific value, CV, of fuel is an important parameter. The agricultural wastes will normally have a low CV. A number of combinations can be tried to improve the CV of agricultural wastes. For example, the CV of bagasse can be improved by mixing with fuel oil and is considerably more effective than that of firing bagasse alone. Bagasse proved to be a valuable and effective fuel source for eogeneration. A number of bagasse-based eogeneration projects are implemented and many more are under implementation in several states in India. Cogeneration is the concept of producing 2 forms of energy from the fuel. One of the forms of energy must always be heat and other may be electricity or mechanical energy. 3. Energy recovery options. A number of energy recovery options are available in literature. They are categorized as I. Biogas, 2. Electricity, 3. Waste heat recovery, 4. Energy integration, heat exchanger network synthesis. Out of the 4 options listed above, only the biogas is presently being tapped as an energy recovery option. Biogas is recovered from anaerobic digestion of organic matter and converted to electricity for supply to nearby users. The last 2 options, viz., waste heat recovery and energy integration, are yet to be tapped in a large scale. The attractive options are energy recovery, anode generation, and the related sources are waste product streams and non-conventional energy resources. Many funding schemes and institutions are available in India for energy recovery. Anode generation, plastic waste management. An increasingly important problem for the plastics industry is how to deal with its products after they have completed their useful life. Central to the issue is the 3R rule: reduce, reuse, recycle. But puffing this rule into practice can be difficult. In Western countries, plastic recycling is a step towards curbing ecological problem. In India, it has more to do with economics. There are 2 ways of recycling plastic wastes: mechanical recycling and feedstock or chemical recycling. India does lots of the former and some of the latter. Mechanical recycling has an edge over other modes of waste disposal as it is eco-friendly and generates employment potential. Feedstock recycling, in which polymer is converted back to monomer and later depolymerized, is gaining popularity in India. 3 materials in particular have been studied: PET, nylon 6 and PMMA. Green chemistry. Green chemistry is the use of chemistry for pollution prevention. More specifically, green chemistry is the design of chemical products and processes that are more environmentally benign. Green chemistry encompasses all aspects and types of chemical processes that reduce negative impacts to human health and the environment relative to the current state of the art. By reducing or eliminating the use or generation of hazardous substances associated with a particular synthesis or process, chemists can greatly reduce risk to human health and the environment. The principles of green chemistry focus on reducing, recycling, or eliminating the use of toxic chemicals in chemistry for finding creative ways to minimize the human and environment impact without stifling scientific progress. Chemical synthesis, which takes into account environment consideration in the selection of reactants and reaction conditions, is growing in importance as both industrial and academic researchers become aware of the environmental benign or green approach. The challenge is to develop new products, processes, and services that achieve all the benefits of sustainable development. This requires a new approach that reduces the material and energy intensity of chemical processes and products, minimizes or eliminates the diffusion of harmful chemicals in the environment, maximizes the use of renewable resources, and extends the durability and recyclability of products in a way that increases industrial competitiveness. Green chemistry mission is to design and implement pollution prevention technologies other than waste management. 9.5.4 Sewage-fed aquaculture. India generates 15 million cubic meters of sewage every day, FAO. Acting on the principle that sewage is not just wastewater but also a source of nutrients, an experimental plant in operation since 1994 treats sewage with aquatic weeds and fish. 1 million liters of primary treated sewage a day sits first in ponds containing duckweed, then in ponds stocked with carp and prawns. After 5 days, water quality has improved to the point where it may be used for agriculture, although not for drinking. The aquaculture sewage treatment plant, ASTP, costs 1.5 million rupees to build. The plant, located in Cuttack, Orissa, is the brainchild of the Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture, CIFA, founded in 1986 with FAO's assistance. For years, sewage from the metropolis has been released into adjoining wetlands where the practice of sewage-fed fisheries provides an excellent, natural biological treatment system. The most outstanding example of such a system is the Salt Lake Swamp. Spread over 5,000 ha. The swamp is an interdistributary wetland in the mature delta of the river Ganga. In the absence of sewage treatment plants, the entire domestic sewage of the city is discharged into the swamp, which acts as oxygenation pond. The nutrient-rich effluent is utilized for fish culture and for irrigating vegetables grown on composted, salt water. 9.6 Green building technologies. Building industry is one of the largest consumers of material resources, including natural and synthetic materials. The increased industrial and agricultural activities result in increased quantities of wastes. It is high time to give more emphasis on RD for waste utilization for their safe disposal and also to use them as resource material for the production of alternative building materials. The gainful utilization of wastes would reduce pollution and consumption of energy and also of traditional raw material consumption like timber. 9.6.1 Building materials from industrial wastes. Solid wastes generated from industrial sources are important raw materials for construction activities. The solid residues, as refuse leaves from domestic industries, have been made to use in concrete and also artificial aggregate after the removal of ferrous and non-ferrous metals. Strength of aggregate has been increased if 20 to 30% of glass could be replaced with fly ash, and also light weight aggregate could be produced using waste glass having more compressive strength. Lightweight concrete could be produced from wood chips waste with cement, which has a fire-resistant property. Waste from plastic industry. Waste oils, wood waste are a source of fuel. The heat value varies from 5,000 kcal to 11 kg. Slag is a waste from ferrous and non-ferrous metal industries, which has been used as a source of minerals to cement. It can replace high percentage of cement in concrete. Workability of slag cement is good, and it also reduces water requirement by varying slag content. About 100 million tons of mine tailing are produced annually in India, and when mixed with Portland cement, the resultant cement is having better properties in all respects. Among industrial wastes, fly ash and mine tailing are the most important wastes, which are useful in development building material. Fly ash can be used for making a variety of building products like bricks, concrete, block, light, weight aggregate, fly ash polymers, composites, roofing sheets, etc. The scope of the utilization of fly ash has been enlarged with the development of many more building materials. Various utilization prospects of fly ash may further be evaluated on the basis of its value-added products such as low, medium, and high value-added utilization. The mine tailing are available as wastes in huge quantities while mining and while concentrating various minerals such as ore of copper, silver, gold, zinc, and iron. The tailing can be used for making burnt clay and tiles in admixture to common soil bricks, and concrete have also been prepared using the tailings. Another use of the waste tailings has also been found for making masonry, cement. 9.6.2 Building materials from agro-wastes. Agriculture waste from fruit and vegetables processing plants, bagasse from sugar cane crushing, sawdust and chipping from timber industries, tea and coffee industries, non-edible oil seeds, coconut and cereals crop like pulses, wheat and paddy etc. account for nearly 300 million tons generated annually on recurring basis in India. Grass, leafer tilde ed. Bamboo and natural fiber were perhaps the earliest building materials that mankind used for the production of various building materials such as resin-bonded fiber and particle board, etc. Finding an alternative source of timber is the need of the hour because of depletion of large forests, and conservation of timbers has become an issue of prime importance, indiscreet lineate felling of trees has come for severe criticism, and all developed countries have been exploring the possibilities of developing alternatives for wood products. These are relatively new technology areas at the international level. A number of other agricultural wastes such as cotton stalks, sisal, flax and hemp shivers have been considered for use in the production of building materials. Box 9.2 Technologies developed at Regional Research Laboratory, Bhopal, based on industrial wastes. 1. Wood. RRL has developed wood substitute using organic fiber and fleischridmid as reinforcement in polymer matrix. Door made out of these composite materials have been approved by Central Public Work Department. The raw materials required are red mud fly ash polymer, additives, and natural fiber. 2. Development of fly ash based paints. In this technology, fly ash was tried as extender for paints. Conventional extenders require grinding and levitation or chemical treatment, thereby leading to high loss in yield, as in the case of China clay, wherein recovery is only 25%. As in calcite with 70%. The chemical composition and properties of fly ash and its abrasive nature properties result in excellent properties of newly developed paint compositions. Both primer as well as finishing paints were formulated. The effect of fly ash on paint properties and film characteristics showed improved abrasion resistance without any adverse effect on other properties like drying time, thickness, brush ability and gloss. Fly ash based paints did not show any hard settling, common in many commercial compositions, and could be easily dispersed by mechanical stirring. Box 9.3 Technologies of RRL, Bhopal using agro wastes residues, sisal fiber reinforced cement roofing sheet. This product is an alternate of carcinogenic asbestos cement sheets. It is repairable and economical. It can be made manually or mechanically and thus have great potential for use in rural areas. Hydraulic press, mold, mixer and other fixtures and trimming equipment are the machinery used for this technology. The technology uses easily available raw materials like sisal fiber, sand, cement, and wire mesh. Salient features of process technology are use of renewable natural resources, eco-friendly, repairable, no health hazards, no risk of sudden structural failure, employment generation in rural sectors, and low cost, coating from bhilwanut shell liquid, BNSL, and cashew nut shell liquid, CNSL, coatings based on BNSL and CNSL were developed at RRL, Bhopal, which are plant-based waste materials. These waste material are eco-friendly, available in plenty and are renewable resources, presently unutilized or wasted due to lack of above-mentioned modifications, also lack of coating process from plant-based waste materials like BNSL and CNSL. In this technology, the commercially available costly phenol has been substituted by these plant-based waste materials, which ultimately reduce the cost of the coatings, and the developed phenolic coatings, resin, have better chemical resistance, strength and are suitable for outdoor applications as they are leach-resistant. Bamboo mat boards. The bamboo mat boards developed at RRL, Bhopal are having excellent mechanical properties, water resistance and weather resistance properties. The bamboo composites developed earlier were not successful because of poor interfacial bonding in the composites. RRL, Bhopal has developed bamboo mat boards with interfacial treatment, which resulted in improved properties as compared to bamboo composites developed earlier by other research workers. 9.7 Participatory approach in adopting eco-friendly technologies. The most effective pathway by which technological and information empowerment can reach the unreached is the one Mahatma Gandhi described over 60 years ago as attention to the poorest person. Box 9.4 Biovillage, Blueprint for the Future, Components of eco-technologies such as IPM, INM, scientific water harvesting, and harnessing of renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, biomass and biogas require timely and location-specific information. The knowledge center in bio-villages can play a valuable role in promoting an evergreen farm revolution. A biovillage is a holistic, socially sustainable village where development benefits all living organisms, including human beings, animal plants, community property, resources, and the environment. Since 1991, the M.S. Swaminathan Research Foundation based Madras, India, has been working with villages in the southern state of Tamil Nadu to increase awareness about farming techniques. Bio-villages, a pro-nature, pro-poor and pro-women orientation leading to a job-led economic growth strategy, not a jobless economic growth strategy. About 19 bio-villages have been established so far. You have studied about participated democracy in Sukhomajri village in Chandigarh and Relegan Siddhi village in Maharashtra in Unit 8. In the following subsections you will study about some new initiatives in resource conserving technologies and indigenous technical knowledge, LTK. 9.7.1 Resource conserving technologies, new initiatives. A strong stakeholder participatory approach that hinges on strong partnerships has been used by the RWC to develop and promote new technologies. Stakeholders include researchers, extension personnel, local manufacturers, NGOs, and the farmers. New resource conservation technologies, such as zero tillage, reduced tillage, surface seeding, bed planting, and the associated agronomic practices, promote precision agriculture and timely farming operations, save on inputs, improve soil health, and are environmentally friendly and reduce costs of cultivation, and provide scope for crop diversification. Results of the farmers' participatory resource conserving tillage technologies, trials conducted in several hundreds of hectares over several years in the states of Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Uttaranchal and Bihar and other parts of IGP, in Nepal, Bangladesh and Pakistan have shown that resource conserving techno TICE enables us to generate location-specific solutions to the complex problems of RW system ecology. Farmer participatory research brings together the researcher extensionists, is more cost-effective and reduces the time lag in technology generation and transfer. Infusion of resource-conserving methods into Indian agriculture is pushing the productivity further and reduce costs of cultivation. Adoption of these technologies on a larger scale will provide new impetus to the revolution these technologies are currently creating. Farmers are enthusiastic about these technologies, and technology adoption is likely to be very fast in the next few years with joining of more manufacturers of quality machines and IGNOU providing new prototypes for demonstration in farmers' fields. 9.7.2 Indigenous knowledge and sustainable agriculture. In order to identify inners' needs, participatory approaches have been introduced with the aim to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of technology development and transfer. The knowledge that researchers bring to the common platform shared by farmers and researchers is called scientific knowledge, while the technical knowledge of farmers is collected under the term Indigenous Technical Knowledge, LTK. ITK is recognized as a possible key for low external input sustainable agriculture. Methodologically, within the farming systems approach, participation is a key prerequisite for agricultural sustainability. By now, there is agreement that there will be no development without participation. Participation within the framework of sustainable agriculture means that smallholder farmers are involved in the process of problem diagnosis, planning of interventions, implementation, and evaluation. The concept of ITK is by no means new. Over the past 20 years, plenty of ITK has been collected through the use of participatory methods related to example, forest community management practices in Kenya, West Africa and Nepal, traditional watershed practices in India, weed management practices in Tanzania, pest management for agroforestry in Zambia, agroforestry in Eastern and Southern Africa to mention a few examples. integration of ITK with the scientific knowledge system is vital for sustainable intensification of agriculture. Available resistance for pests and diseases of the local germplasm can be effectively integrated into the improved varieties through biotechnology. Similarly, the efficacy and efficiency of locally available treatments can also be improved significantly through modern science. Box 9.5 Relative comparative advantages of scientific versus pharma knowledge. Scientists' comparative competence vis-a-vis farmers usually includes processes where reductionism and precise measurement work well, breeding, but not always, and biotechnology, minute and microscopic phenomena, developing package technology for uniform and widespread conditions, access to knowledge and genetic material from other environments. Farmers' comparative competence vis-a-vis scientists often includes times the experience and discipline of having to live in and survive through an actual farming system and its physical, social, and economic environment, times the creation and exploitation of microenvironments made up of soil, water, and nutrients, times continuous observation of processes, times freedom to make progressive changes, managing and adapting sequences, unrestricted by rigid experimental design, times the development and adaptation of technology for diverse local conditions, times the understanding, development, and management of technology with many elements and linkages, times a long time horizon, unless insecure and desperate. 9.8 Future of EFTs. Man is an integral part of the biosphere and therefore is totally dependent on its resources. His future and even his survival depends upon the rational use and conservation of the resources available to him. If the environment is to continue to sustain life, it must be protected from the consequences of our own actions. Breathable air, clean water, fertile soil, and innumerable life forms are all important resources that are vital to our own survival. This is particularly important because physical resources are limited. Today, renewable solar energy is recognized by many populations as being in harmony with their cultural tradition because of its peaceful and environmentally friendly association. By reuniting science and culture, and by making effective use of what might be termed the cultural tools of solar technology, sustainable solar energy seems poised to become the principal energy of the future. The efficient and economical use of solar energy derived from biomass, wind and ocean power. Small hydroelectric facilities from thermal, geothermal sources, and from photovoltaic and non-nuclear hydrogen energy may point well enable the world to satisfy most of its NAT, requirements. MNES is targeting to attain 10% of raw capacity addition of renewable. India will soon set up a center to impart training in environment governance and using market-based instruments for green choices in order to provide solution to the environmental problems in the next 50 years to enhance efficient use of inputs, agrochemicals, water, fossil energy, and the development and use of resource-conserving technologies. Certain policies concerning pricing, incentives, research, agricultural education, funding, etc., have to be made. Subsidies have to be more production-oriented. Adoption of resource-conserving technologies leads to win-win situations, reduce cost of production, improve production and productivity, save on energy, water and are leading to precision agriculture in an eco-friendly manner.